Hey buddy, would you like to be... Howdy everyone, welcome to the stream. Hope y'all doing alright. Want to do a bit of programming today. So I have an idea I've been developing for since yesterday about an RPG, your typical old school RPG that I grew up with, where you just have your character, he walks around a map, does a bit of combat. Oh no, combat. Like it's going to be, the combat is going to be separate from the actual game itself. Like you'll go into a combat screen, but the idea that I want to test out is if we could pull off something like an action combat. Like if you've ever played Star Ocean or Legend of Mana, where you have your character and you have the actual action combat, but it's sort of separate from the world. Legend of Mana not so much, but they still divide it to where like it's a room, and you know it's not like Legend of Zelda, where the whole world is the battle. So that's what we're going to try to implement. I'm thinking we're going to go with more of a room transition because I want to see how well that would work out. We can always set it up in such a way so that we can do either. I want to make it to where we can switch back and forth, just sort of test the water, see what works out. Howdy all y'all. Yeah, it's thing to say, got a notification too soon, I reckon. Like I started the stream and I didn't want it to go live. I wanted to set everything up, set up the details and all that stuff, but I think it threw it out anyhow. So hey, we'll go ahead and do it. So we're going to get started. This is what I have been working on here, had sort of design. So we have the RPG. The combat is the really only thing that I've really thought about. And it's going to be the focus of the game itself. Because, like, I want it to be story focused as well, but that sort of is going to come after the combat. I want the combat to be fun. And so, like I said, we'll have the arena. And one thing that this will allow us to do is to have various traps that you have to avoid that aren't in the world, but when you get whisked off to the battle arena, you'll have to avoid these while fighting the enemies and stuff without having to clutter up the world. And one of the reasons I want to do this is sort of simplify things, hopefully, to where we don't have to worry, because I want to have a party system, we have party members, and I don't want to have to worry too much about their AI in the world. I want to be like, you're by yourself in the overworld, boop, you go off to the battle system, you've got 4 people to fight with, and then back to the overworld without having to deal with all that. So that's the idea. That's like the sort of the driving point between this, because I want to simplify this so that we can just make something. Vignes asks, is this the first time face reveal? This is not. I've done a few live streams before. They're unlisted on the channel right now, but if you go to the the playlist. You should be able to find it. I just don't I don't put my face in the actual videos because too many people see those. I don't want to scar people. So, with the combat, I want it to be action-based. So you have free movement. I want you to have dodging, all that stuff you would probably come to expect in a typical ARPG. But I want it to have the turn-based feel, but not really turn-based. If that makes absolutely no sense, and I understand that. I want it to have that feel to where it's not pure action. Like, I want it to be more strategic, to where like you have your party members, then they all contribute. But me personally, I'm not into fast-paced combat. I want, so that's the goal. So I think that's all we need to cover, because we're going to work on the combat system first. Get that area, we'll do the transition later. We'll just get the room. I think that's all we need to cover. So I already have my base project up and ready to go. This is my project I use for starting everything. I think it's even got platformer stuff in here, but we don't have to use that because it's going to be a top-down RPG. One thing I threw in recently, just before the stream, is these. This should hopefully save us some time. It's the damage area hitbox stuff, so we don't have to code all that. Because actually that, for some reason, that usually takes me a while to do. So, but we'll see if that causes errors later, because I just ripped it straight out of my Kindred Gem entry. So, we have the game here. We're going to create a new 2D scene. This will be the battle arena. Oh, for lack of a better name. Let's see. Isometric view. No. Probably not. Potentially. I'm not putting it out, but I don't have a lot of experience in isometric view. And the thing about me and game development is, I hate doing art. I hate doing art. I hate doing music. I would rather just do the programming. And the trouble with this game is, it's going to be a lot of art. So I want to simplify that as much as possible. And chances are, it might even just be flip character. Like I may not even have a forward-backward thing. I'm not saying that for sure yet, but I want to cut down as little art as possible, because that's usually what kills my projects. Okay. So, we have the battle arena. We're probably going to have a node to store the characters. And actually, we're probably going to want to have them white sorted. Now, fair warning, I have never done anything like this. So this is going to be a lot of trial and error. We don't need this, actually. That'll be our group node. We'll just call this characters. Actually, if we're going to have traps, we want them to all be white sorted together. I think you can stack white sorts though. So let's call this entities. This will include things like maybe rocks that are in the way, chest, maybe there's loot that drops every now and again. Yeah. Kenny assets. Well, Kane Thornward suggests me using Kenny assets, and we may for prototyping purposes, but ideally I want this to be a game that I want to push out and, sort of linked to me and my style, if that makes sense. But that's actually a good point. We might use Kenny's assets, or at least some other assets, for prototyping purposes, because that's usually what kills me really early on, is the art. Like, I start doing art and I just get depressed. So, entities, we're going to have a background and stuff, but I don't think that's important. But we will want some kind of collisions types things. For now, we're not going to do anything fancy. We're going to have basically a tile. Oops. Let's see, tile map. And we'll just do regular graphics. It'll be walls later on, so we could have like a room. Consider this will be the actual screen size, which I haven't changed any of the dimensions yet, so it's going to be too big. But say we could have like little walls and stuff. Could even do like a mini dungeons. No, that might be too much, because this is gonna, it's gonna be the combat. It's gonna be something that happens often. So we want this to be streamlined, but also interesting. The dungeons, no, I don't think that would work out. Oh, and Reformitiku says, and Kenny assets are great. Kenny assets are great. He does fantastic work. A lot of he contributes a lot to the game development with his assets. The game development community. A lot of people get a lot of work done because of him. And one of my favorite Godot YouTubers, Kids Can Code, uses his assets a lot. So, tile map. Now, I'm thinking about the resolution that we're going to use. The game Gungeons' combat is great. Indeed, I've played it. Not a lot. I've played just enough to probably get to the... I don't know if I got to the second level, but I've played a little bit of it. And that game is very inspiring to me. Sort of the... what it does. I'll pop this chat out over here so I can read it better. Okay, so... yeah, it actually has inspired a lot of my designs. If you'll notice when I do... like I did it with Kindred Jam, with... when I did the collab jam with Miz, I have a character and the arm rotates around that character, and that's usually inspired by Gungeon. So we have a tile map. Let's get a tile set created. Now, resolution wise, I'm thinking I'm going to go with, what would I say? 24 by 24, which is a little unorthodox for what I usually the standards are 13 or 16 by 16, 32 by 32. But 16 by 16 is too small in my opinion. 32 by 32 is too big in my opinion. It requires a lot more polishing. And I'm hoping to try 24 by 24 and sort of see if that meets my needs in the middle. And oftentimes I find doing something unorthodox like that sort of is interesting. I did it with my channel. I did a 96 by 96, and I actually really liked where that went. It allowed me to do some more complex things. I don't have, however, with this base project, I have my 32 by 64 setup. I don't have 24 though, so let's go ahead and make that right quick, just to have that handy. Let's go with a brown. No, let's go with a white, because the white allows us to change the modulate. We could use this for other things down the road. I did go with the right size, yeah. Yeah, okay. Kids Can Code is great, but it's content we can't say it's for kids anymore. I wouldn't say that. His content is interesting in that it's applicable for everybody. He doesn't, I don't think he goes too complicated, and he does a really good job of explaining things. But he does it in a way that's really compact, like it's really compact, really dense, but not overwhelming. That's why it's one of my favorites. Like my channel, heavily inspired by his, except for I took it more challenging. I'm targeting more intermediate people. Adversarial newer. For kids. Yeah. Complex stuff, but alright. But I wouldn't make that argument. Where did that even get saved to? No? How weird. Unless there it is. Okay. Oh. And then we need to, well, we gotta make the first one. Now, I'm a little rusty, so y'all have to pardon me. So it might be a little slow going to get started, but we'll get there eventually. All right, so we have, well, let's get this going as well. Now we need to decide if there's screen resolution. It's not, nothing set in stone here. We'll just try to get something basic going. Howdy, Ivan. I have no idea what we're going to use for resolution though. Project settings. And we need So I always took the kids and Kids and Code as kids and offspring songs. More generational thing. I never thought of it like that, and I grew up watching Offspring. No, not watching, listening. Assuming you're talking about the band. Let's go. I think this might be too small. I think I usually scale this up. But let's look at this. Oops. Like we don't want to get too bogged down. We're just prototyping. All we need is basically a room and a character to move around it. Now, the cool thing is later on we could get into some stuff like procedurally generated rooms. So, like, this is just a simple room. So procedural generation will be really easy. It's not something we can get bogged down with. We could do some cellular automata just to generate the rooms, or at least generate some prefab rooms. We could generate them and then save them, and all kinds of fun stuff that we could do. Oh, let's see. So we have that basic stuff. It's a really slow start, but well, you know. We'll get there. We'll get there. So we're going to start making our characters now that we can move around. The idea being, you know, action combat, we can move freely. So we'll have a base character that everything will extend from, because I don't think there's a reason we shouldn't. We need, like I said, really rusty. I can't even remember some of these names. I've been working on this stuff, just working on stuff that's pre-built, sort of tweaking code. I haven't been adding nodes. Oof. There we go. Kinematic body. I had it right the first time. I just doubted myself. Just arrived. I must know what software you're using for your planning nodes. I am using Miro, which is something that was recommended to me on my Discord, because me, when I design stuff, I like to use little charts like this. I don't like the linear design of Trello, which I also use, but it's more for when I want to do list things, and sort of this will be for probably used later on to keep track of what's been done and all that fun stuff. But for brainstorming, I like to use this type of thing where it's just a cluttered mess. Okay. So we have this. We're going to have a character. We'll create a folder for characters because it's probably going to have a lot of uniform stuff in it. Well, that's what I think. Yeah. And then from here we'll have playable characters, because like I said, we're going to have multiple characters, and on your team, and you'll be switching between them. You'll have your main character, like sort of story wise, but you have and you know, a lot of times people will stick with that one character. You'll have the ability to play from that one character the entire game, but you have the option to switch it up to the other characters for more strategic purposes. Okay. So GD requested a simple version of procedural generation. I don't know that I've seen it. I think I've seen they had a video recently of like world generation. Whereas we're going to be using. Let me see if I can't pull this up real quick. We're going to get terribly off track. I really shouldn't, but I'm looking for it. See if it's here. Probably not that one. No. I have dabbled in cellular automata before. It's really cool. Really good for making cave-like structures, which I think will be good for our thing. Let's see. I really want to look at it though, because it's really cool. Maybe I'll pull it up later in like another stream if I can remember where I put it. But it's, you know, it'll generate little. We can have it to generate rooms and stuff. It's really cool. I think will be useful. So character, we're gonna need. Let's go ahead and add a script, because this is where everything's going to be extending from. Now this character is not playable characters, so we're gonna have enemies, and we'll have playable characters. So we'll have to go ahead and extend from this. And we'll just have playable character. And this will be like, you know, your main character, his friends, and all that stuff. Now the thing is, we'll have to keep in mind is we'll have to have a state machine to control these. And you'll probably have like a default behavior, and then we'll have, is the character selected? If they're selected, then their AI shuts off. So they will need to have AI, but it'll shut off when the player is selected, and that will allow you to control them specifically. We're not going to dabble in that right now though, because I just want to get my character running. We can add all that AI stuff later. In fact, we may not even get into our other characters for a while. I'll probably just get my character and then an enemy, get us damaging the enemy. Get that out of the way, because if y'all have watched any of my previous streams, we've done this at least twice now. So hopefully we don't focus too much on this. Let's see. We're going to need... Do we want to... I don't generally like doing this, but we're going to add here our collision shape. The reason I don't like doing this is because you might have an enemy with multiple collision shapes, or you might have an enemy with no collision shapes. But for now, we'll do this, because I always tend to forget to add mine. And so, let's get the shape going. Now, like I said, we're going to be doing a 12 by 12. No, 24 by 24. Generally don't want the player to be the full 24. So let's go with 20 to see how that feels. And then we're going to go half of that, which was already there. Because I find that half feels right when you start placing, when you start doing the graphics and stuff. Also, let's go ahead and do pixel snap. There we go. Okay. Let's get the character. Let's get him a little sprite for now. We want to do... I'm bad for that. Typing in stuff that is not there. I'm going to have this called buddy. And then we'll get a sprite going. And we'll go ahead and add this guy. Get him pushed up. You know what? There we go. Keyboards for the win. And then we'll pull this up there. Wait. I did that. It's too wide. Silly. 24, 12. I wanted to do 20. That would have been 10. And then this will be 5. There we go. There. Sprite is going to be a little chubby. It won't be chubby when we make the actual sprite. Alright, so let's get the script going. We're not going to get bogged down with a state machine just yet. We'll just get some basic movement going. So we need a physics process. Tacker, is this for the top-down Minecrafty game you're working on in the streams before? No. That got a little too complicated. Not complicated, but it was taking too much time for me. And that's, overscoped it or whatever. So we're pulling back again. Thing with me. I'm always overscoping, always trying to pull back, and then I go over. So we're going to have to keep this in scope. Absolutely have to keep it in scope. No choice. No ifs, ands, or buts. In fact, I probably overscoped it again. But we're going to pull it back. I even have another idea in case I get overscoped. We'll have to see. I don't think this will be too overscoped. I am worried about the art aspect of it because, like I said, I really don't enjoy doing the art process. But, right. Okay. So, var velocity vector 2. Then we'll need, we're going to want Oh, I already did this here. Could have sworn I made that script here. Oh, okay. I didn't extend it. There we go. All right. So we're going to need that. We're going to need an export for move speed. We're going to do it in units for the inspector's sake. And we'll say, let's say we'll use 4 for now. Tacker, too bad I like the project. We can come back to it eventually. I will. That is actually like almost guaranteed to at some point. I just want to get a few games under my belt first, because that is one of my dream games. It's one of the ones that I really want to make. In fact, like as soon as I can, I want to make it. It's a guaranteed, promise you. I will come back to that one eventually. Okay. Hopefully, like really soon. I want to have a game to where I can finish it. Ideally, I want to finish this one in about 2 to 3 months. I don't want to get too bogged down. And that one I expect to probably take about a year or 2 if I fully focus on it and don't get distracted, which it's going to happen. I am me. Okay, so we need to get move input. I don't know if I already have move input done. Yeah, I need to do this. As a default, could have sworn I did though. And then we're going to want to have an attack, dodge. We're going to have abilities too with this. And the abilities are going to be based on the weapons that you're using. Probably like a skill thing. So like you'll develop your character and then train skills along, maybe like a simple skill tree or whatever. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said. But I don't want it to be just a simple attack. Like I want to have special abilities. Like say you've got a spear, you could do like mini thrusts or something, you know. You get a bow, you could do other things that bows do. No pupils ask what does this mean, and it's a static type thing. So you've probably used to this one, which just says velocity equals this vector 2. When you add this, it's shorthand for this, which means it has to be a vector 2. It can't be anything else. It can't be a decimal float, which is this, whatever. Yeah, I don't even think it could be null. It has to be a vector 2. It's for, which I think Godot can use for when you're typing, like velocity, dot, and then you can get all this length and stuff. It's guaranteed to know what that is a vector 2. So it's I think it's mostly used for code completion, and plus error checking, so you don't get errors, because if that was to be a float, it would crash the game. It'll crash the game if you try to make it a float either way, so I mean, you know, take what you want from that. Okay, so I didn't do the keys though. Oops, nope. Oh, good. Alright, so move left, key, move right, move up, and move down. Tacker says, the same for me. I'm working on something similar, which is one of my dream projects. Well, that's why I liked it so much. I would love to see it, but, well, then again, I don't know. I like it. Yeah, maybe don't want to see it, because I'd hate to get inspired and take something. I'm kidding. I wouldn't take something, but, you know, I think that's a concern you have to worry about. Like, legally. I don't know. Not a legal person. Process. We're going to have to be doing multi-directional input. So we're going to store input because we might use it later. So move input vector 2. And so move input dot x equals input dot is action pressed move left. Yes. Yes. Okay, I think we're going to close that one. Yeah. Oh. Input dot is action pressed move right. Boom. And then we have to do the same thing for Y. But we're going to be doing up and down. Then we want to normalize it. Text tag, another problem of overscoping. Yeah, it's a big problem. It's a big, pretty common problem, especially for me. I think I even said on the stream, I even said, like, we can't overscope it, then I overscoped it. Which, to be fair, actually, I might have said about that. That might have been the stream before, actually. I said don't overscope it. Because I knew that one would be big. I knew that project would be big. Because anytime you're doing, like, I've found, anytime you're doing some sort of terrain modification, entities that you interact with, big Minecrafty style thing, it's not an easy task. Granted, I had a lot of it down, but it takes a long time to get to that point. But yeah. But anytime you do anything like that, it's going to take a long time. And I think I knew that going in. Anyhow, we've got move input. We need to, I guess we'll just move our character. We're going to change our velocity. We'll set it directly for now. So we'll say move input times our move speed units times our unit, which is 24, if I remember correctly. And then we're going to do this. We're going to be changing the velocity later. So this ain't going to matter, but we'll set our velocity equal to move and slide. Don't need to snap. So we'll just do velocity in our up director, which is, we don't need any of this. I think that's correct. And let's see what happens. So battle arena, this will need to be our main thing. And then we'll need to add our character. Oops. Here. Boop. Okay. Now, the view is too small for now. Hello, thank God. I got lucky. Oh, were talking about missing, making the stream? I assume. Okay, so we need to make it, yeah, we need to make this bigger. That's 40 times 0.5. No. Other way around. And then 360 times there. See what that looks like. Oh, I didn't. Yeah. We got to change. I think it's that one. Because we might be doing some rotations. Game endeavor, I use get input action strength move less. You know what? That's a good point. Because I want to do joystick movement. And that's really good for joystick movement. But there's a caveat to it. I might cover that in a second. Static. We want to keep, I believe. Move and slide. Why move and slide instead of collide? Because collide, if we were to collide with the wall and try to move. So if we do this here and then move along the wall, I'm holding up right now and sideways, and you'll need this sliding. But if I were to use move and collide, velocity times delta. No? What are we doing? Oh, wait. This. Okay, and then I go down to this wall here. I'll get stuck on the wall. Because it's actually sliding more than I expected it to. I've expected to get fully stuck, but you see the problem. Is this a turn-based RPG combat? It is not. It is also not an action. Well, it is action. Here, it's sort of going to be a combination between the two, and such that, in an arbitrary way. it's going to be an action combat. So you'll have your character, and you'll have the enemies here, and you'll have enemies here. You'll have your party teams with you, and you'll have the traditional startup like this, but you'll actually go into and you'll do the fighting, and you'll have like overworld transitions. So like, say I'm in the overworld and the character's walking around, and I'm going to have overworld enemies, and you touch them, initiate the combat. It'll whisk you off into a battle arena, and then you'll fight it off there. Once the battle's done, it'll whisk you back to the overworld. That is the concept. I don't know how interesting that'll be. I don't know how well that'll play out. So that's what I'm trying to prototype here. Just sort of see how that feels. And if not, because it's inspired from one of my favorite childhood games, which was Star Ocean, the second story, if you've ever heard of that one. And so that's what we're taking inspiration from. That one's more. It's not as actiony, and such that like if you do an action, your character actually runs up to the enemy to perform the action. Whereas this one, you'll actually be controlling your character, controlling the direction, all that fun stuff. It'll be more action than that. Anyhow, that was the collide. Now on to the strength thing. So, yeah, input.get action strength. Let's move left. We want the negative here. Plus input.get action strength. Move right. Let's copy this. Oops. Move up. Move down. And this will be Y. This should work, I believe. Yeah. The thing with that is, I'll make sure I don't unplug my mic. No, not you. This guy right here. I don't know if y'all know what a controller is. That's why I had to show it. There we go. Correct, Tacker. Correct. He said they said it's an interesting idea of arena type wave-based combat system game, but with a world map. Correct. Instead of waves, could have waves. That's not out of the question. Hello there. I've been following your tutorials and they have been very helpful in explaining some good practices for Godot. Thank you very much for sharing them with us. Well, thank you very much for watching them, Mario. I do appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words. So we got our controller plugged in. If we add in our controller, it should be joy axis left stick left, joy axis left stick right, joy axis left stick up, and then joy axis left stick down. We should have our movement, but as you can see, it's sort of snapped. Like I am moving my I'm moving my thumbstick around pretty fairly, and it's generally snapped in these directions. This is because the dead zone is 50%. So if I have, in fact, let me see if I can't do a thing here right quick. By the way, I don't expect this stream to be productive. I'm gonna chat with y'all, gonna faff about, do silly things. We're just gonna, I need to get back into development. I need to shake off a bit of rust. Actually, I don't want to. Okay, we're gonna do a thing. We're gonna do a custom thing. So let's, and you can stay a sprite, it won't matter. So function draw. We're going to draw a circle. Let's just vector to, you know what? For simplicity's sake, we want to throw in a camera. Right here. We're going to center our camera on vector to 0, like that. There. Okay, back to the script. Draw a circle, vector to 0. Let's say 24. Color dot. I don't think that's right. I think it's white. There. Let's see what this looks like. Oh. We also make that current, and we need to move our player up here. And zero that out. Here Brian says, if we have multiple scenes and need a Y sort in every scene, should we create it as its own scene and instance it? If we have multiple scenes, need a Y sort in every scene. I don't know what you're asking. Yeah, no. Oh, can we not do a circle outline? I don't think we can. Oh well. We're going to draw a smaller circle. Let's say our input. And let's say input times 24. Input needs to be normalized. Let's give it a radius of 4, color dot red. Okay. And then we're going to make this an export. We're going to make this to where set input value, input equals value, and then we're just going to update. Is it? Nope. Silly, silly. Okay. And then, you know, I'm being complicated. Let's go to our character again. Let's grab this. Let's just put it here. This is just for demonstration. I don't know why I'm being overly complicated. There. Nope. Okay, so I did. Why are you? We'll just go with process update. Okay, so yeah. So that's what it looks like. But you can see it's snapping to the to that. What we want is to remove the dead zone. And, now, how much you remove it, it depends. So we're going to take it all the way off for now. So you'll see it doesn't snap anymore. The trouble is, that's the whole reason we have dead zones, is because I'm not holding anything. So we have to implement our own dead zone. So move input, wait. Yeah. If move input dot length is less than 0.5, put equals 0. Oh, vector 2 dot 0. That should fix that. No. Why? So howdy, I picked up Godot recently and I've learned a lot from your tutorials. Thank you for the work you do. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch any longer since it's already 1 a.m. Sorry, bud. Hey, cool beans. Cool beans. Howdy, beans. Welcome to the stream. So, what it is? You tricky thing, you. Let's print out. That's interesting. Oh, what? Oh, because I normalized it. Ha! Ha! I knew that was going to be I knew it was going to be an issue. I just didn't know why it would be an issue. I was sitting there like, I should probably put that before I normalize it. And I knew it would be an issue. Wasn't sure why. There you go. So yeah, we have to make our own dead zone. You see it don't snap anymore. So yeah. Now, that's not to say that and another thing I was hitting on, it's not to say it's the worst thing. Sometimes you may want snapping. Because it makes it easier to walk a straight line. Straightly left and right. So if we were to add like a little bit of snap, that would be a little better. Let's copy that. See, it makes it easier to walk perfectly straight. Because otherwise you sort of get a little bit of drifting, and it's weird. So, there. And the reason that happens is because we've got these separate from each other. So you have the dead zones, which are implemented in the thing here, but it's not taking all axes into consideration. It's only taking the left and right into consideration, and the up and down into consideration on its own. And so even though my length is beyond 0.5, it's not for the y-axis. So it's snapping that way. So, yeah, just a little bit of a quirk you have to implement yourself. You should probably normalize in an else, so you don't need to normalize a zero length vector. Why would you not want to needlessly implement normalize it? Is it very taxing? I mean, we're not going to be doing a lot of normalization. I don't think it may have for this, but I don't think it'll be. That's one of I see that as optimizing for the sake of optimization, unless there's a known issue with normalizing. Like, I mean, it's not going to cause a performance hit that I'm aware of, so don't worry about it. I don't worry about it. You know, not tell you what to do. You live your life. Let's see. I think that's just code clutter, though. I don't see the point in it. Anyhow, back to the task at hand. And that's cool because this should work for keyboard as well. Alright. So let's get rid of this guy. Here. That was just a demonstration. So we have a character. He's very slow. Let's speed him up. Now, the combat-wise, I want to do it. I don't know if y'all played my Kindred Gem entry. I want to basically steal from that because I really like that combat system. There we go. So, with it, you have your character and you have a sword that you sort of pivot around your character and you attack out. I can probably show it right quick. So actually, I don't have it here. Let's pull it up. Don't know how loud this will be. Bring this down. Okay, so you have the sword, and that sort of swings around you, and that's the general direction that I want to go with this one as well. Okay, I adjusted the mic volume so for that music. Let me know if it screwed up anything. Let's see. Function is beautiful. Alert function will be used shortly. We're just prototyping right now. That's polish. We're just getting it going. Okay, so we have the character. We want to do the attack. So we have the... Did I do the attack key? I guess we're going to do... No, not key. Mouse button. Left button. And... Yeah, we'll leave the joystick alone for now. We do it later. Okay. Like I said, we're gonna do. I don't want to do a state machine right now. So we're probably just gonna have a cooldown. So we want to. We're gonna create a node to store our timers for organization's sake, and then we'll have an attack cooldown timer. One shot, 0.2. See how that looks. We're gonna be getting into playable characters first. Well, yeah. Let's go ahead and do playable character. Because we're going to be doing enemies soon as well. Enemies will have a different attacking method. I mean, by the end of it, the players will too. But we're going to be doing enemies real soon. So, function input, we'll say no dot is pressed attack, and we'll store it here. I'm going to store it here. No. Why are you not doing your thing? Probably because I was on the wrong character screen. Probably. That would be my guess. So, we're going to have that cached. And attack cooldown dot is stopped. And then we'll want to start it. And then attack. Let's not start it here. Let's have an attack method. And then we'll start it here. Bean says, how many side projects do you have? Depends on what you mean by a side project. Depends on, like, with me, to be perfectly honest with you, usually when I try to code, I do it for the joy of coding. My goal is not to make things ultimately. I mean, I hope to. It would be nice to, but I just code for the fun of it. So it depends on what you mean, because I have small side projects that I work on. I have large side projects that I work on. I have many, many small projects. Like, you know, every week I'm starting a new small side project. But big projects, I mean, the in active development, none. I've probably worked on, a handful though. Then I just get to a point where I'm like, I'll move on to something else. I want to try something new. Don't like to get bogged down. Anyhow, but I do want to finish a game, which is why we want to make a simple game. So hopefully a simple game I can finish. Which, if we're going off of Kindred Gem, but this is going to be it's going to be sort of inspired by that. Hopefully we can take a lot of stuff from there and we get right into the thrust of it. Techno Hacker says, hey, love your tutorials, man. You getting me off the ground with the game development. Loving the stream too. Thank you for the kind words and the watching, bud. I appreciate it. And this is thanks for answering. You're welcome, bud. What is the benefit of using input function instead of just checking the input the process function? Okay. There's a couple things. In fact, I shouldn't be doing this. I always forget this. One of them is this. We need to be using unhandled input. Unhandled input is, say you click, because especially since I've got mouse click as my attack button. Say you're in a menu and you click a button in a menu. That counts as input. It goes to the input. However, if you click the button takes the input and registers it as handled, then it won't call this. So, if you check for, I believe I don't use input in process, but if you check for input in process, then it'll still register that. I think you can check to see if the input is registered. Might be in one of the higher nodes. It's not there. No. Yeah, there we go. I think you can check there. It should be the same thing. Oh, and another one. I haven't heard this one in a while. That's why I was sort of blanking on it. Another one is that input is called immediately when you do an input. Well, not immediately, probably. I don't know how immediate. Within reason, immediately once you press the input. So, I think I covered this in my platformer tutorial, the very early ones. So, like, say if I was to make a platformer and I push space to jump, I would want my character to start jumping right then and there, Whereas input, when you're checking in the process, it only registers it on the process itself. So, and I think there might be some hiccups, could be along the way. Like I said, I don't use it in process, but I think that has the potential for that. I don't know. But I think you can get away with it, but I don't recommend it because it's here. You might as well use it for that. Plus, for me personally, I like that it's broken up into its own method. So you have all your input checking rather than it being cluttered into your processing method, which is, I don't know. Not an expert on that one, but I just use it because it's what I've always done. Wait, no, I needed that. Okay. So attack cooldown start. This is where we're going to attack. We're going to, like I said, we're going to do the weapon thing from Kindred Gem. That will require a bit of work. We're not going to do that right now. Instead, we're going to create an area in front of the player that will serve that purpose. Input says I use input because Godot can pause it when needed to. What do you mean by pause it? Like when the game is paused? I haven't played around with that. Oh, I have played around with the pause screen, but I haven't tested much of that. So we need to create an attack area This should be pretty simple. It's just going to be a node, attack, area. This is just a temporary thing. We'll add a little sprite. Get our little A sprite going. How big do we want this? Let's go with 32 by 32 for now. We're just going to create a circle. Oop. Bang. And just call it that for now. Mario says, yeah, it sounds like if you were to quickly tap a key, it might not always register. It depends on how often the process is being called. Yeah. I don't, like, noticeable wise, I don't think it's, because, I mean, it's going to be called, what, 60 times a minute? I don't think you're really going to notice it latency wise, but it could be a registered thing. I don't know. And then, like, I think we used it for transmogrify, and I never noticed an issue with it. Like when you need a cutscene where the player can't be controlled, just set process input to. Oh, good point. That is a good point. That is good. I do that. What am I doing? Oh. Oh, we'll create an attack. Yeah, we'll create an attack folder. We're going to keep things like weapons and hazards and Sarkor says it's usually better to do in physics process for deterministic games, like platformers and fighting games. Input is more suitable for turn-based or UI heavy games where frame data isn't important. Okay. But yeah, physics process for sure. Oh, right, sprite. We need to add the sprite here. Which is funny you say that because I never make turn-based game. I don't think I've ever made a turn-based game. I need to. In fact, I have another idea. I think I said this at the start of the stream. In case this one doesn't work, I have another idea I want to do. To where it's like an RPG, but instead of like, and it will be turn-based combat, but instead of controlling the character, it's more of a top-down type thing. Like you tell your it's like purely overworld. You tell your character to go places, and it has events like FTL. So you just finished your first game using Godot. Nice. First proper game, like what are we talking? Like a game jam? Are we talking about a big project? What are we talking about? GTK Jam is up in about a week. If y'all are interested, I'm probably gonna join. Depends on how deep into this I get. Anyhow, we're gonna do damage area. Oops. Game jam kind of game. Nice. What game jam was it? If you don't mind me pestering you. Upon release this game on Steam, it was using the equivalent of process rather than yeah. That causes big problems. Big problems. There was somebody that did that in. Well, I think their issue was they wasn't using Delta, or it was a Unity game. So whatever their time, I think this what time Delta. I don't remember what they used, but they did that, and then it was for Tim Ruswick, if y'all know him. And so when he went to play the game, he has his beefy computer, and the game was impossible. He couldn't get through it because it was just too fast. Let's see, what did I set that for? 12, maybe 24, so it should be 12? No, I did 32, so 16. And then it's a player, well, this will be a player one, so let's go with 18. It was a challenge for a YouTube video. Oh, nice. Okay. And like I said, I stole my damage area from here, so it should already have functionality. This one is simple. Like it's just, damage, strength, and exceptions. We got the attacker, which I'll have to remember to set. Okay, so when we attack, we'll just create an attack. Oh, we're going to need to, how do we want to remove it? We'll probably just do a timer, I would imagine, for now, because, like I said, this is just a temporary thing. Let's go with 0.2. Once this is done, I guess we'll attack a script here. I've gone this whole time without noticing this. There. So your video helped me a bunch. I'm glad to help, bud. Thank you for watching them. Alright, so let's see. Function. We'll connect a signal to it. Master X says, hi, howdy. Welcome to the stream. Timeout. Alright, so and we just want a key free for now. We'll add a little to do here, which that should be up. Later, take it easy, Mario. Oh, we are. Right. We gotta create the, so we need to attack area. Equals preload. Tie instance. And then we want to add it to ourselves, but we want to do it at an offset. Oops. We have, like I said, we have move input getting stored. And this is why we store it, so we can use it to our advantage. So we say position equals move input. We should have a hand radius. Let's set it for 12. Let's go 16. That'll put it the radius. Yeah, where the edge of the attack touches ourselves. Probably looks silly, but it'll do. So move input times hand radius. Actually, no, that's terrible, because that is based on our move input. We want it instead based on our mouse input. So yeah. Nope. That was close though. And radius. So, howdy from Florida man. Oh, howdy, Florida man. You can offset the area inside of the tack scene instead of just set the angle. That way you don't need a constant for the offset. Let's see. Set this angle. Oh, you don't need a constant for the offset and change it visually. Yeah, but it's good enough for me. Like I said, it's just temporary. When we have it, it's going to actually have a hand sprite that moves around with the mouse to sort of move around. This is just a visualization tool. Oh, I'm not a very visual type of person. I'm very program type, personally. Freaking Rex Jessies. Oh, hi. Howdy. Welcome to the stream. Now, so that works. Step in here. So Oh. Hmm. This is usually how I do that. No? Oh well, let's try get local. For the record, if y'all might question why I don't use get local, it usually has issues for me. They usually get fixed by switching it, but let's try it and see what happens. Oh. Not a fan of it. That's also not working. Tell you what, let's not do the position. Let's see where this gets us. There we go. Okay. Wait. I need to... Ah! Shoosh. Okay. Oh. Let's tell you what. Let's go ahead. Yeah. Dot mouse. No. Do it here. Dot. That was getting the displacement. I should do it for us. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Howdy, Formclake. Howdy, Chase. How's it going? Okay. Okay, so let's move this out a little more. This looks too small, I think. I don't like how small that is. So let's go 640 times 2 and 360. No. Yeah, 360 times 2. And now I don't think this is going to change much. Just sort of get a bigger picture. Sometimes when you scale things up, it looks a little different. Too small still. It still feels a little too small. We'll go with it though. Also, I need to change this setting. Like that. Okay, so that was a really long time to get an attack going. Oh man! All right. How did this typing rubber duck and mostly, yeah. The howdy is the important part. That's you don't want to miss that one. Okay. Oh man. So we have the character. Let's bring him up here because we're gonna start probably mostly over here, and we'll have our enemy here. So let's get an enemy going. Now the enemy is gonna extend from character. We're gonna take a second to think. Is there any NPC that we'll have that's not a character? In fact, part of me wants to separate these into battle characters. You might have an overworld representation of the character and then a battle character. I don't think they need the same things. I don't plan on doing any battling in the overworld. So we might want to make that distinction. We can do it later. I think we can change it without any issues. For now, the reason I debate this kind of thing is because I hate going through and changing these after the fact. But for now, we'll do it. Just to be safe. We'll have an AI, and from that we'll create an enemy. And then from that, we'll create a grunt. That's the game endeavor. Why don't you use some fan sprites like from Chrono Trigger? You know what? I mean, we just started. I'm not too worried about graphics right now. Graphics sort of bog you down, especially in the prototype process, but we may steal some sprites. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that right now. Oops. That is not that is not Chrome. We're going to take from, just so y'all have something to look at, I reckon. Yeah, don't. I was going to show you, but you can never tell what's on itch. Can't trust these deviants. Good people though. So let's see. There's one that I like. In fact, as a matter of fact, I got that. I got that bundle from what was it? The Racial Injustice bundle from Itch, and it came with some assets. Let's take a look at those. Oh, if I can find out where I put them. Oh, this looks to be it. Oops. Oh, I closed it. The trouble with, like I said, you'll get tied down doing stuff like this. Especially if the pack doesn't have everything that you want it. We'll look at it later. For now, I know for a fact that the one we did for the collab gem, it had, I can't remember his name. It has an X in it. I know that much. It has a sprite similar to what the style that I might use here is. Let's see, we'll use this guy right here. Let's go down. We'll check these out. And we'll put this back over for now. Let's see which one we need. I guess this one. Extract that right quick. And we'll take a look. So let's see what we got. We have the weapons here. Got some animated sprites. Oh, is it missing the one guy? I like that one guy. But it looks like everything else should be fine. Okay, we'll use this. Isn't there a startup kit sprite bundle in the asset lib? I haven't seen it. No idea what that is. Still Express is the way to go. Indeed it is. It saves you some time, that's for sure. Oh, wait, yeah, actually I do need that. And then I should be able to just boom. Okay. Oh, so let's get some pretty looking stuff going, I reckon. So, tile map, this will be for walls. Maybe. Do I need to do separate? Let's do them separate for now. Let's go tile map. We'll make one for flooring. I like to do them separate in case they have to overlap. Sometimes you have like this, the floor showing under the wall. So we'll go ahead and get that out of the way. This will need to be under here. Bro, I need to say there, hey bud, welcome to the stream. All right, so we're gonna do a bit of flooring. This, that's another thing though. Like I want to do this 24 by 24, and I guarantee these are not gonna be 24 by 24. Oh. And I don't want to have to change it later, because if you change sprites later, like graphics later, it's a pain in the neck. I'll tell you what. I don't want to do the drawing though. We'll use characters. We'll use characters. Characters should be fine. If anything, we can scale them around. So we have this guy. He's got a spot. He's got a sprite. Oops. There. All right. We need to. I could have. No, did I not set it as the default? There. Okay. And then, nope, do it here. Which guy do we want? There was a little knight-looking dude with the blue armor, and I liked him, but he's gone. This is the playable character. What's the difference in these two? Oh well. Let's go with. Do we have here? I'm guessing these are 16 by 16. Yeah. And boop. Okay. There you go. There's a pretty spot for you to look at. Already the game has improved. And it does look small, don't it? Well, that's also the thing. Like, it'll be half times bigger. Well, let's go ahead and scale it then. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. We'll just scale it and see what it looks like, just to sort of get an idea. No, that won't look right either because the resolution will be thrown off. Yeah, we're not going to scale it. Oh, let's see how this attack looks. It will give us a better idea. Why are you doing that? Oh, wait. No? Ah. Take that back. Okay. I really don't like how that's throwing me off, though. Yeah, be alright. I'll just have to remember it later. Okay. Oh, I will remember it during, I reckon. And then we'll have a grunt. Let's get this guy going. I guess we can give him a sprite too. Did I not give the... I gave you the body. Why would I do that? Let's do it again. There. And then, oh, there it is. There we go. Okay. So then we go to the grunt. Grunt needs to do. That's the trouble with this, is we have to update it down like that. Bit of a hassle. Okay, so sprite. Do the texture again. Let's give him the cute little dinosaur. Oh, does that not keep? There we go. Okay. Now, we have our grunt. Let's throw him in here. Grunts. That's really far apart. One thing I would like a grid, maybe. Since we're doing 24 by 24, I want to see what the layout sort of looks like. Like scale wise. Since we're using a sprite, it'll throw me off. So what I think I'm going to do, just do a little bit of this right, y'all. Oops. Well, that works to a degree. No, that's even worse. Yeah. What is that? M. I don't know why I got that backwards. But there. Grid. And that way we can go to our floors here. Set them up for 24. There. It should give us an idea for how big the layout is. And why? Oh. I know I was going to have to change this later and completely slipped my mind. Let's take that, bring it here. There. Okay. Feels too big. I don't know though, like it would allow us, like I said, the sprites are very small in the, yeah, I won't know until I start drawing sprites. So yeah, we'll have this. We'll do it for now. Let's, and so the general idea is like, we'll have different rooms for different types of areas. Like say a caved area, you know, we'll have like this. Nah, that looks terrible. There. Let's close this wall up a little bit. Okay. Something like that. We can have like little spike traps or something in the way that you have to dodge while you're in here. Yeah, once you start doing that, it looks a little better. Okay. Let us, right quickly, because that is a lot of white. See if we can change that. A little. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so we just need to, hopefully, if we add in our we need the hitbox. We need to give it a shape. No, we want that to be bigger. Like that. Boom. And then we should just be able to. Oh, look at this. I ain't looked at this in a while. The thing happens here. It's damaged. If not, damaged. It's damaged. Okay. So we should just be able to go here, connect. Brian says, have you began experimenting with Godot's 3D engine? I'm looking forward to some tutorials when Vulkan comes out. I have, a little bit, not a lot. I haven't done it in a while. Basic stuff, nothing too fancy. Let's see how far this got. I have this. I think this was just, you know what, my camera's inverted, how weird. But yeah. Now, one thing I don't like, you may notice it, there's a bump here. And I don't know what to do with that. Yeah. Just basic platform. Now, granted, I'm not going to do a platformer video because it's, the 3D platformer is very similar to 2D platformer. It's just a few extra tweaks, but nothing worth, like, I don't think worth doing a whole series on, because a lot of the stuff still applies to it. But with this one, I was dabbling in things like I had this guy. I think I had him on path follow. I was fiddling with the navigation stuff. You're terribly slow though. Like this. I was trying to fix that. And I'm not sure how. I think I thought I'd fixed it though. Because I thought I had it to where the nav mesh would work up here. But I think it still is, like, it's the nav mesh is used to get to where to go, but I use those points to actually move the character. I don't know how effective that is, but like, he uses the navigation to not to actually move, but to where to move. But still got to figure that one out. But I haven't touched this in a while. I need to. I also had some VR stuff I was working on. Don't know where I would have put that though. No, we're not doing a 3D platformer. Barwani just asked about the 3D stuff, and I wanted to take a look at it. Anyhow, so our controller in 3D platformer and third-person shooter is actually a lot more complex than 2D because you need to consider simultaneous movement and camera rotation. We used to have to worry about that with 2D. I mean, well, 3D, yeah. So, isn't it? Okay, 3D platformer that isn't a third-person shooter is actually a lot more complex. No, not in my opinion. Not in my opinion. The camera's a little more complicated, but not that much more. It's pretty much the same concepts. Once you get the camera, the whole movement's pretty similar. The equations of motion that I used for my platformer is pretty similar. Gravity's the same thing. You just have to apply it differently. Nav mesh is different. Anyhow. What was it? Oh, yeah, right. Hitbox numbers. Now, every character is probably going to have a hitbox. And I want to connect it to the character. Oh no, what am I doing? There. No, wait, yes, maybe. Yes. We want to get rid of this one. There. We ain't gonna, yeah, we're not gonna add a thing there. Barney says, I'm looking to get into 3D on Godot, but I may wait for Vulkan. I need to get better at using the engine in general. Yeah. Like the 3D engine? Yeah. It can be tricky. It took me a while to get basic condown. Like the hardest thing for me was the angles. Getting the angles down. Still tricky. Like, not so much like movement and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty easy, but like as it relates to enemy stuff or AI stuff, I found that to be tricky. So not the camera movement itself, but the combination with character movement. Think about Mario 64. When you press sideways, Mario strafes, but also the camera rotates. If you push sideways, yeah, I disagree. I don't remember the camera rotating when you press sideways. If it did, if the camera, I think because Mario had a janky, Mario 64 had a janky camera, like really bad camera. I mean, granted they had a, if you've seen the controller they had, it was terrible, but their camera was janky. But no, I found the camera control to be really easy with 3D. I mean, there's a few tricks and things you have to consider, but beyond that, I didn't do anything like collision avoidance or anything like that. That would be difficult. Anyhow, we're gonna need max health. We'll start off with 8. Yeah, and then we won't. We're just gonna do a hardcore thing right here, like health minus equals amount. We're not gonna do any checks or anything, just to see if we get this. Actually, yeah, let's do it. Let's just see if this works. So we got the attack thing. Boop. Nope, because I didn't add collision. Wait, no, I did. I thought, what happened to it? Was this? Oh. Huh. What? No, I did. Collision's there. Oh. Okay, so go back to this guy. Wait. That doesn't have collision. That's fine. This one does. Okay. So let's look at our hitbox. Area entered. I expected that. There. Maybe I fixed something by random clicking. I wasn't really concentrating. Okay, but yeah, it seems to work now. Whatever I did. Alright, so on hitbox damage, we got that. It's working good. The next thing is, that's usually pretty easy. The tricky part is like the exceptions and stuff, which is why I usually like to copy all that stuff. Because with the playable character, they have their own hitbox we have to consider. We already have that connected, we just need to add the shape. Okay. Let's see what happens. Probably will take damage, I would imagine. I don't have any way of not checking it though. Wait, maybe? No, hold on. Here. There. There we go. So we need to, I think the way I did that, I'm going to take a look at the hitbox. Okay, it would be an exceptions for the damage area. No, that's temporary exceptions. Okay. I have this weird because of how I did. Like I said, I ripped this from Kindred Gem, and it has the ability to throw the weapon. And so I wanted it to throw the weapon, and when you hit an enemy, it would add the exception to it, and then it would reset the exception when it come back. I implemented that quickly. I think I've got it here 2 places, but I think there's 2 different reasons for having it that way. Because I think, I don't know why. I'll have to look at it. Let's see. Howdy, out of the box. You think Godot will in time become the best engine for indie devs? I'm remaking a game. I did in Game Maker for 8 months. With Godot, it took me 2 weeks. I don't think there's such thing as best for indie devs. I think it was best for you. I mean, well, if you seem to enjoy it, I would imagine it would be best for you. Everybody has their own preferences. Just set collision less. The player attack doesn't hurt players, and then monsters don't hurt the monsters. But I think that's how I have it. That might be my issue. Let's see. Yeah, that's the issue right there. I gotta set. I think this one's usually a character. So I want to do attack area here, damage area, collision. Hold on. Thought that was supposed to be both. Oh no, or no. What did I do there? Hitbox. Okay, must be that. How weird. It's been a while since I've looked at that bit of code. Let's go ahead and just mark those. Which one is that? Layer 11. Here. We'll go. I'm gonna flip it. Cause I'm pretty sure I usually do player first. Hazard. Then enemy. Hazard. Bean says, how long do you program every day? Like 6 hours or 2 hours? Depends. On a typical day, I will program probably more than 6 hours. Like I do a lot of programming. I haven't done it in a little bit, so I'm a little rusty. And it depends on the day, because when I'm doing tutorials, so the way this usually goes is I'll spend the first 2 days usually doing the code, doing all the testing required to do the code. I test things that could break the code, whatnot have you, and then on the 3rd day I'll do the script. I'll write the script out. I hate writing; it takes me forever. 4th day I'll do the recordings, and then like that was the audio recording, video recordings, whatever, and then not video so much. Oh wait, I'll do the code recordings, and then 6th day I'll do editing, and then I usually post it the day after that. And so it depends on what days, because like I said, scripting usually takes like pretty much an entire day. Editing takes a long time because I do all those extra bits. And so those days I don't get a lot of programming done. But other than that, it's usually, I would probably say anywhere from 12 hours a day, just give or take, on a day where I actually program. That's just distracted right now. Haven't streamed in a while, so nerves and all that fun stuff, and the fact that I just a little rusty. Okay, anyhow, I think after I end this stream though, I'm gonna sit down and do some proper coding. That way I'm not so hard to focus. It says, wow, yeah, I mean, it's what I do. But seriously, I need to sit back down and do it, because I'm having a hard time focusing right now. So grunt hitbox. We're gonna have player hazard, enemy hazard. So we'll have that. Then we'll have the player character, their hitbox. Be this one. And this attack area will have, like, nice, was it mask? Yeah. And this one will have the enemy hazard. And when enemies have an attack, it'll be the player hazard. Let me look. Pardon me a second. No. Go lay down. All right. All right, so hitbox. We want the character. There we go. Want to test that? Should be fine. Oops. No damage. Then we come up here. Boop. No. Why not? What did I change? The enemy? But it should still work. Okay, but that should still be active. Should have that, should have that. Let me go with the hitbox. Yeah, because why did I do that? Nah, I was clicking shit up. Clicking random stuff apparently. There. Jeez. There. There we go. It only took us too long. It's the mouse. Alright. So help, that's a mount. It's one. And we'll go ahead and do our health stuff now. I am planning to set a new goal for me to program at least 500 lines a day, every day. I wouldn't do lines. If you start doing lines, you might program in lines for the sake of doing lines. I mean, plus that seems like a hassle to count all those lines, to be honest. I would just set time. Just set time. So, because I remember when I was in college, and an instructor told us a story about how Microsoft used to pay their employees, and he was known. I think he was known for making up stories. So that's how valid this story is. You know, take it for what you will. I said Microsoft used to pay their employees for every line, or they needed to code so many lines a day or something, and they'd end up getting garbage lines because of it. Like people just throwing in lines for the sake of throwing them in there. So, he was very anti-Microsoft though, so that's why you have to take that with a grain of salt. Great guy, just very anti-Microsoft. If health is less than or equal to 0. Once we get back into the visual stuff, screws me up. Now that we're back into coding, it should be able to focus back on it now, hopefully. So if health is less than or equal to 0, that's when we want to die. So, we're going to call it. I always forget which ones I like to call it. I don't know, it doesn't matter, but I'll just say Q3 for now. Okay. We are in the character, yes, correct. We want some kind of animation player. Damage. I don't want to. We're not going to write a thing just yet. So we're just going to do modulate. So I've heard terrifying things about the back end of modern Windows. Even some employees don't understand the workflow or how the code does what it does. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I wouldn't doubt it, to be honest. Windows is interesting. I like the debuggers. But also legible, understandable. That is correct, H. Egan. When I code, I try to be elegant about it. To my detriment. Because I like the complexity. Not complexity. I like to simplify things. But I think it's important to clear and concise code. Generalization is always bad, yeah. I set that discrete. Let's see what this looks like. The grunt. We want to change this to. In my company, people say that good code could be self-documenting. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I agree wholeheartedly. I try to write my code in such a way that it can be explained on its own. Granted, I'm a big fan of comments. I don't do it like in the videos or in the stream because there's not really time, but when I do personal projects, I personally like to go through and add plenty of comments and document what happens and stuff. Mainly because I find it's quicker. Instead of having to read code, I just go through and says, okay, this does all this stuff. And even my own code, like if I can just be like skim the words right quick, I find it's easier for me personally. So yeah, with that. And then we're not going to, yeah, we'll go ahead and do vulnerability as well. This one, visibility. I'm going to start on or off. We'll start off. Then on. I'll link to 0.1 and we'll have it repeat. Oh, 0.2, I reckon. There we go. And then we want to have a reset. And this one would just be, why would that be the default? What? That is interesting. Oh, did I do it in character? I did. Okay. So back to the, let's rename this as well. Damage animator. I'm definitely guilty of not using enough comments. Always something to work on. Oh, indeed. I was bad for it a long time ago. Like I never commented anything. And then when I went to college, that was one of the things I learned. That was one of the things I told myself to work on, was to do code. And I grew to fond of it. Okay, so damage animator, we got that going. Reset. Okay, so we want to reset the visibility and the modulation. And I should have all that. Oh no, because yeah, that was silly of me. I wonder if I can. Yeah, we'll just make it again. Wait, actually, can we copy? Yeah, we can copy. Animation, copy, character, animation, paste. Perfect. And then invulnerability, animation, copy, paste. Now I should have all three. Good, perfect. You, what do you look like? Okay. Now, everything should be fine. We should be able to set this up. Now, I did a thing, my hitbox, I think it has its own invulnerability timer, the way I did it. So, the reason I'm thinking about that is because the characters, we have a set health here. We might have a damage method. I don't like how this is, though. We might have to rename that. Consider that as our damage method. We might rename it for simplicity, because it could be called in other places. Because think about it, we have a hitbox. The hitbox can take damage, but say there's an event that happens, we could use it for taking damage as well. So we wouldn't want it to be just for this signal. We might want it to be for actual just damage in general. Let's see. Hell, I'm really grateful for your email tutorials. They helped me learn the basics some years ago. You have a really unique voice. Well, thank you. What email tutorials we talking about, though? I switched to using C# and Godot for good because of huge performance reasons. That's something I need to look into, because something I've encountered with a few things. I start doing like these grand high performance projects, and they end up lagging. Like I started creating a what would you call it? Like an a life simulator, to where like you would have these little dots. I never got into graphics or anything. You have these dots that would run around gathering food, and they would have to gather food to survive. So if they went so long without eating, they would die. But they all had different traits. So like you'd have some that were faster, some that were better at searching for food, and all these traits would vary. And they'd also have to breed, and over time they'd die of old age. And so I ran that for a while, but I was running like, once I started running like 100 of these things, it started to chug, which was disappointing. So I stopped working on that, and I should transfer it over to C#. I've never worked in Godot C# though, so I have no idea how it. I'm sure it's just like C#. I used C# before I started using Godot, because I started with Unity some time ago, a long time ago. And I think I even knew C# before Unity. So it wouldn't be difficult for me to pick up. In fact, when I first started using Godot, that was one of the things that was quirked me. It was like it had its own language that I'd have to learn. And so I was like, it'd be nice if I could just use C#. But after like a day with the language, I fell in love with it. I like how the language works, to be honest. Did you actually encounter a scenario where the script in GD is taking more resources than rendering? It could be either one. I don't remember which one it was. I don't think it was the rendering, though. No. I have ran tests to where I rendered, because I think after I did that, I was like, is it the rendering? So I went and rendered like a whole bunch of sprites, like I think 1,000 sprites or something, and I had no issues. They only had issues when I had logic behind the sprites. I would imagine so. Was that in? I said it had 430 enemies on a level and it was very laggy. Was that in C# or GD script? Okay, so health exposure amount, damage. Oh, okay, so we need to. We're going to consider this to be our damage method, so we're going to start our damage animator. Let's go ahead and cache it right quick. So first we play the damage method. Now, enemies, I don't think we're going to have an invulnerability timer, so it's something to consider. I don't know how I want to do that though. That was one of the things I was considering was with the hitbox. Hitbox has an invulnerability timer. So, I'm not sure how I want to do this one. We'll just I could reach into the hitbox and get the invulnerability, but yeah, we'll do that. We will do that. Now, hitbox, I think it has, yes, it has its own immunity duration. The timer is being set based off of that. I don't think it considers the timer at all. Yeah. So it completely ignores the timer's actual thing, so we'll have to use the hitbox one. Lack of occlusion. Oh, it's in GD script. Lack of occlusion calling a Godot is a real bummer. They don't have that. I imagine it would be. Okay. So we need to. I'm in the hitbox. We're going to store the hitbox inside of this. This always gets me, and I always do this incorrectly. There we go. Okay. It always throws me off. I always type the an extra letter in there accidentally. You can probably implement colon by clever parenting and using hide show and parent objects. Okay, play damage. We'll go if hitbox dot invulnerability duration is not equal to 0, then we will q dot q invulnerability. Otherwise, they don't have any duration to it, so we don't need to queue it. And I think we have our hitbox has a immunity ended. Yeah. Now, yeah, we can do that inside of the if condition as well. Because if we're not playing the invulnerability, then we don't need to reset. Because the damage method flash animation resets itself. I'm pretty sure there should be an issue with that. So yeah, we'll just do it here. Let's say, oh, actually, no, I don't need to because it'll play automatically. Okay. We need to look to see how that's handled inside of the hitbox. Because we don't, if it's playing the, if it starts the timer automatically, I don't think it does, but if it's, because I think if we have a duration of 0, it would crash the game. I think it causes an error. Or either that or it starts at a really low timer. So we'll have to look. So once this hitbox is ended, or the invulnerability time is ended, we play the reset. Later, our teammate wrote a custom color. I didn't use it and test it though. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's take a quick look. Once we hit the damage, yeah, right there. So that should be fine. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. Oh. We need to we want to make sure it doesn't go over max health, because this could be used for healing as well. There we go. Okay, and we can't hit ourselves. Cool. Alright, now let's get... Now, I'm trying to think. Start getting the enemy implemented. Enemy will probably use the state machine. A simple one, move towards the player. This is a grunt. We've done this a million times. I'm guaranteed I can steal the code from any number of projects and then just walk over it right quick. So let's take a look. Import. This recent one would have been the Kindred gem. Alright, so character, enemies. Looking at the grunt. Very common name for me to use. Now that's where I keep AI. That's where I keep the movement. Now that I think about it though, AI will be interesting because we might have just this in character instead of AI, because our player characters, when we're not using them, they'll be using these AI methods. My AI classes usually have stuff related to movement and target setting, which is everything we're going to need on the other ones as well. So this might be for character. It'll be interesting though, because when we switch to the player, it'll have to disregard all that, which should be fine. It should be simple enough, because it's, if it's state machine based. State machine will be interesting. I'm tempted to just swap out the state machines and instance them on the fly. Like we'll have an AI state machine for our character, and then swap it out for a player state machine when we're controlling that character. Maybe. We'll see how that goes. So, I think there's only one method I really need. Everything else is pretty straightforward. It's usually... I don't see it though. I think it's just moving... surely not. Okay, I just haven't moved towards... There's a whole arrival distance thing that I usually use to where they won't approach completely. They'll walk up towards the target and then stop before they get to them. These grunts, well, this is AI in general though, but the grunts in Brave the Dark Mage, they will walk up completely and just touch you. They don't have any sort of attack mechanism. And then we had the slime enemy, I think is what it was, that would bounce around. And then there was the eyeball enemy. No, the eyeball enemy bounced around. Slime enemy threw stuff at you. I don't think they walked up to you. Let's see. Spitter. State machine. Maybe they did. I don't know. So I'll have to find that elsewhere. It's because, I don't know, do we want to do a bump enemy? We'll just do a bump enemy right now because they're simple. So to do that, should health really float rather than integer? I mean, depends on how you want to do it. I don't see any big issue with it, because I mean it's going to be a large number. It's not going to be like a specific thing. If I'm doing, because that's just a temporary thing. I'm probably not going to do like a 8 as health. I'm probably going to do something like 100, and then have an attack like 30 or something like that, and figure that out. I mean, it could be float, could be fuck it, go with integer. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Anyhow. What was the other one? Alright, we're going to move the enemy towards the player. To do that, we need to add a damage area onto the enemy. What is that? Is it the collision? Oh, it's your hitbox. Your hitbox got screwed up. Oh, wait. Must have got messed up somehow. Oops. There. And then the damage area. What am I doing? Oh, gotta add a shape to it. Alright, every character is going to need a state machine pretty much. More than likely. I mean, instead of exact zero floats do not, it matters whether you want to risk surviving on 1e30 HP because there was a running error on subtraction. Like I said, like, that's such a small thing that I'm not really concerned. Like, I doubt someone would be like, gosh darn it, I had 1e 330 HP left. I should not have died out of my 100 health. I don't think it's noticeable. Oh. Alright, state machine. State machine. We're going to extend this. Run state machine. And we're going to copy that. Boop. Alright. So the first one. Now, with the battle combat system and how we're doing it, it's going to be a little different because with enemies in an ARPG, you check for the for players in range, and you get like the closest player or whatever. Whereas since we're doing a small area, battle arena like area, like you get whisked off into this area, it's an they already know you're there, so we don't have to check for that. Their whole existence, relies on you encountering each other. So we don't have to check for that. We have to consider how we want to do enemy targeting though, or their targeting. So maybe they'll target the nearest person, maybe they'll target the strongest person, maybe they'll target healers. You know, we have to put a little more thought into that. Right now it's just me. And so I'm going to see how we're going to keep a track of everybody. We want them to be able to pull from a list. And that's another thing we don't have to worry about, like nearby areas, searching for stuff. We just have a list of players, a list of enemies, and we can check for who to attack. Depends on how I want to do this. I wouldn't do perfect 30 anyhow. So if they think of an enemy with 90 HP, attacks taking 3 attacks doing 30 damage each and surviving because of the low health. I wouldn't have done a perfect division like that probably. Especially if I'm going to show health, because typically you want to add a bit of tension. You want to add a little bit of health to the health bar thing. So say you want to do 3 attack, and you have 100 health, and you wouldn't want to do a perfect 30, or not 30. Let's say 90 because of better some division. Say so 90. You want them to die in 3 hits, and you're showing their health. If you do a perfect 30, then it's going to be perfect. There's going to be no tension. It's going to go down the same each time. But if you increase it a little bit, say 33, it'll go down. It's still 3 hits, but their health bar gets shorter at that final hit. And you can sort of tweak that to manipulate the feel of the game. Sort of like, but I guess the inconsistency, like if you was to do random damage, it would affect it. And that's clunky. I mean, I like I said, I don't mind doing integer. It's just a thing. I mean, if you're gonna, instead of using as a proxy 0 function, like if you're gonna go through all that hassle, might as well use an integer. I'm just prototyping right now. I'm not concerned about how consistent things are. I'm just concerned about doing things, getting the game playable. I can think about consistencies and all that fun stuff later once the game is implemented. Alright. So yeah, list of players. How are we going to do that? We could do a global. That seems like the most likely way I'd do it. I don't necessarily want to do it that way though. Let's see. Let's look at the battle arena. We could keep it in the battle arena and then keep it global. In a global. The reason I don't want to do it in a global is because I just have a random variable there. I think that would be confusing and sort of meh. But one thing I do tend to do to make it easier to access things is to have a global that keeps certain scenes. Like, for example, the level scene, in this case, the battle arena scene, in case I need to access anything within it. And the battle arena scene could have a dictionary of the actors. We could do... I'm thinking a dictionary, and then the dictionary has 2 arrays for allies and enemies. And that way we could be like, battlearena.get. Well, no. It depends on how we want to do, because there could be things that damage like everything. We would have to iterate through every entity, and I don't think it matters. We'll just do, that seems clunky. We'll just do 2 separate, not functionals, var allies, because array var enemies. equals array. Maybe. I never got to deal with FSM objects in 90% of the cases. It seems like overkill for something that could be done in 5-10 lines of code without them. It depends on how complicated you're getting. Like, we might have entities that have more advanced logic later down the road. For yes, this one could be a simple move towards, but we might have some more advanced features later. I know the character ones will, because they'll have to do, well, what do we need to do actually? I might not need one for now. That said, I mean, honestly, a state machine doesn't really complicate things in my opinion. Like, the way that I do them, at least. I've got it pretty much not automated, but the setup is pretty much automated. Well, just changing states does take time. Oh well. But if you have different behaviors for the enemies, because I mean, if you have an enemy that's just moving towards the player, that's their one goal, then yes. But say we have an enemy that swings a sword at the player when they're nearby, or shoots a bow, and say they have the bow. I don't know. Try not to think too much. Bogs you down. So yeah, we have that. We need to store. Ready. We need to store ourselves. Do we already have globals? Globals dot. We'll just say battle arena equals self. Don't think. Yeah, we'll keep it there just in case. Let's push this up. Okay, so yeah, but when you start, if you start adding more, you might need more than 2 variables. Okay. Arena equals self. Yeah, okay, so we're back to grunt. We have that. When we initiate the battle, I'll have to check. I'm wanting to swap out. I haven't done this before, I don't think. I'm wanting to swap out scenes. So we have the overworld scene as a scene. We have the battle arena as a scene. And I'm hoping to be able to pull one out, just swap them out like as we need them. And I need to check to see if this gets called for each time. I would assume it does. I think I've tried to do swapping before though, and it gets I've had errors. We'll have to see how that works. So I'm skeptical to see how this works. But we'll find out when we get there. So character. Right. So we want the player. Grunt. Let's pull up his thing here. So yeah. I would need to extend the script. Let's go ahead and extend these scripts so I don't have to do it later. Yeah. I really don't. I think that AI class is going to be redundant because everybody's going to be an AI. But we'll do it now to save time later. And then the grunt. No. All right. So the way this works, we'll start the battle. There's probably going to be a little bit of a pause. So we need some kind of signal to when the battle's going to start. Probably use an actual signal for it. I don't know how I want to do that. Well, tell you what. We'll just get started now. We'll worry about all that later. I have to worry about... Okay, let's just create a target. We're going to need to worry about targeting, like the different ways we want to target. So, but we're going to need this. We'll go here. Now we need a reference. Nope. And what we're using here is a weak reference, so that we don't have so we don't get errors later, because when we free up stuff and then we start calling null instances, it can be a hassle. So probably have that too, but I like to have a global variable itself, just because naming conventions. But oh yeah, we need to do the getter. We'll say if, let's see, var target equals null, if target ref. Now this one, yeah, target equals, I think it's this. Wait, maybe. Let's go with that, just to be safe. Let's double check that, yeah. All right. We're using this to store our target. Nope. Without storing a hard copy of them, like the actual reference to them. We're just storing a weak reference to them, so that if they get released, we're not holding them up from getting removed properly. And so this way they'll still get removed, and we'll be like, and then we can use this to check to see if they've been removed. Because I think this will return null in that instance, once they've been removed. Ignis, do you create games as part of your day job? Yes, I was working on Transmogrify, but I haven't been getting work here lately, so I'm unemployed at the moment. All right, so we have our target. Okay, so we want to set our target now. And when we start, character. We need to add ourselves to those 5 arrays that we created earlier. And we need to do it in such a way that, for now, for simplicity's sake, export var. Let's see. Is this string? Then li. No, wait, hold on. Let's do it enum. String would be silly. Would be silly. Enum faction. We'll just call it factions. And then we'll say ally enemy. Let's just do this one here. Might actually be better for the battle to hard ref the overworld so that you can move it from the same tree without it being deallocated. As long as I'm unidirectional, and the overworld does not reference the battle. The overworld shouldn't need a reference for the battle. The overworld, you have the overworld, you encounter the battle, it gets swapped out. We're going to keep it referenced. It'll be referenced in the globals, and there's going to be. Yeah, I think what you were saying. That's going to be. We're going to be doing that. It'll be stored because we have to swap it back in. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to. So faction LAME, we'll say export var faction. Do we do it? Let's find no. Yes. I think no. This one for sure, but factions var faction equals 0. See if that works. Yeah, it looks to work. Okay. So we can say this is an enemy. And then in the ready method, we can say globals dot battle arena dot. Let's do this in the battle arena. So add character, for lack of a better word, self. And so the logic for it will be in the battle arena. Because there might be some other stuff we need to do. Maybe. Character. But since we're going ahead and do this, let's rename this. Well, let's do this here, battle character. Because there's going to be a difference between an overworld character and a battle character. Battle character is going to be doing damage and attacks and all that fun stuff, whereas the overworld character just needs to move around, interact with objects. It's going to be a whole different thing. So we'll have a battle character. We'll probably want to rename this as well. Can we do it without breaking anything? I think we can. I think of it a call stack the battle reference to the overworld that it returns to. I don't think I'm going to do it that way. The way I'm going to do it is you'll have like a controller here. Probably have like a main scene, which is going to store the overworld. And then the overworld is going to tell it to trigger, like it'll emit a signal or whatever, some way of emitting a signal to trigger the battle scene. The overworld gets popped out. The battle scene gets pulled in and instanced. The whole thing does this battle. Once the battle's over, the battle scene will emit a signal saying that the battle's over, so that it doesn't have to handle that logic. And then the main scene will get that logic. It'll pop out the battle scene, destroy it because we don't need it no more, and pop the overworld back in. That's the reasoning I have for that. We'll see how well that works. So battle character. I always forget that. There we go. Alright, hopefully we don't break anything. pretty early on. I would be surprised. So battle arena, battle character. Do we change it? Here, good. Okay. And for now, this is just going to be simply if character dot faction battle factions dot allies dot append character else enemies dot append. I don't know how fond I am. Actually, I think it's silly to have all these as one. Yeah. It seems like just to double the logic for no reason. Since we have the factions thing, we can just check that. As we iterate through the characters, we can check for their faction. Maybe it's not referencing it by name though. Interesting. Surely not. Yeah. Why would... Usually that doesn't cause an issue if you store it that way. Maybe. Yeah, we'll find out. Trouble with my extensive inheritance is I get these errors and it's really annoying. I don't know how to get rid of them. Oh. Extends battle. The battle scene doesn't have a reference to the overworld. Hey, do you have an experience with Godot unit test? I have used it in my last project and saved me a lot of headache. I do not. I've never used it. I'll have to check it out though. I'll have to take a look. Let's see. Oops. Okay. Try this again. Come on now. Figured that was to be expected. Oh, because that gets added first. Do we yield? I don't feel like we have to. We'll yield for now. See if we can find a way around it. I mean, I don't see an issue with it, but... Okay. Now then, we have that. We want the grunt. That's a long process just for us to check. Get a new target. So if get, let's see, var target equals get target. If target equals null, then we need to find a new target. I'll just call it find target. This might be a little funky. The weak, what was the weak ref for? Weak ref is for the enemies, like the characters. Where's my character? Yeah, it's for the characters. So, what is it? Yes, for him to find me. Okay, so find target. We'll make that method. Oops. I don't know what that was. Okay, here I target equals get ideal target, sure. Okay, so then we want a list of potential targets. And so what we're going to do is iterate through all of our targets. Is yield the same thing as yield get tree idle frame? Probably. I don't know the timing of that, but if it sounds about right. Let's see. But I would test your timing first if that mattered to you. Okay, so for potential targets equals no. For target for characters in globals dot, what did I call it? Battle arena dot get characters. We don't have that method yet. We'll go ahead and make it. Well, we can do a set get for it later if we want to use an encapsulation for it. Okay. This is for the grunt, so we can go ahead and check and say if characters, what, no, character, if character dot faction equals battle characters, character dot factions dot ally, because we only want them to target ally characters. We're going to want to, for now, we're just going to find the nearest one. So, nearest target equals no, for nearest distance. We'll just call it distance. Infinity. And so, we'll get the distance. This distance equals character dot global position minus our global position dot length. If this distance is less than distance, I don't like these naming, so I might clean this up later. Then nearest target is character, and distance equals this distance. If nearest target not equal to null, wait, we can just return nearest target. Usually I would do something else there for other reasons, but we can just say return nearest target. Okay. Then we'll check for target again, not equal to no. Then we start moving towards. Move towards target dot global position. Yeah, I'll say the name parameter does not auto resume. Okay. So function, this is grunt. We want to do this in character. Actually, we want this inside of character. Character is going to be a lot bigger than what I typically do, because like I said, I usually do AI separate from my characters, but pretty much everybody's going to have AI capabilities. So this is going to be a little different than what I'm used to. Get ideal target. What else did I want to do here? Move towards. Move And so we need to get the displacement. Displacement equals 2. Wait, yeah. We'll assume it's not null. 2 dot global position. It's our global position. Okay. For normal equals displacement dot normalized, because we want to use that for our movement. Velocity. Now this is where velocity is going to be a thing. We will need let's go ahead and set up our velocity. We're going to want velocity implemented. Let's go ahead and set this up so that we know that it works. So we'll say apply movement. So velocity equals move and slide velocity. I don't think we need anything in there for now. I might need some collision checking there later, but for now it should be fine. And then we'll do it in the ground for now. There. Now, grunt. Grunt. Should have to get target. Should be battle character. It's right there. Is there? What? This is interesting. I'll restart this real quick. Just because it's being silly. That's what it must have been when I moved that. Okay. Okay. So now we need to test the movement. So we're just going to say velocity equals, I don't know, what am I? We don't need to test that, I'm pretty sure it works. Yeah, I'm a paranoid type. So, yeah, okay, whatever. Vector 2 times factor 360. Just make sure that's why we do it. Sometimes this can be annoying. Battle character. jackass. Alright. There we go. Good. Speaking of which, while I'm thinking about it, we need to add a collision shape to this guy. Oh, already did. Just didn't add a shape. Just need a shape. Make sure that that's shaped proper. Okay, cool. Alright, so we have, we need to get rid of this. Now move towards should set our velocity. No, not yet. Okay, so velocity equals normal, that should give us moving in the right direction, times move speed units times 24. That should make it to where he targets us. No? Oh, why did I create this? Don't need that. Okay. Let's go through here. What are those? We'll just run it again. There. Heavy poly. Okay. Don't think I recognize him. So, where did the people go? It's not how that's supposed to do. Okay. So there's target, characters. You're not having any characters. Okay. Characters equals. Surely they're being added. No. Why not? Battle character. Ready. Cool, add character. Okay, so yeah. No. Oh, let's see. I guess that yield might be screwing something up. No, actually. Here. Since where? I don't know why I was doing that. Well, no, I need to. Yes. No. Well, let's just comment this out. Characters equals characters. What we're going to do, I don't know why it's doing that. Temporarily, we're going to use that. What changes name? Boom. Because I think we can nest those. So we're saying ready for characters equals characters. Now when we do this in our battle character, we want characters dot get children. I'm gonna break that up so it's not so clunky. Smear said, "What's this? Can you explain?" It would take a while. I mean, it's, unless you mean the game concept of the game itself, it's a creating a. I don't know why this doesn't work. Get rid of this. This should have. Yeah. There's target. Okay, we got it. Oh, we don't need that because we did the position. Okay. Oh, you are fast. Okay. Good, good, good. So this is it's an RPG where when you get whisked off to the battle, it's sort of got an action mechanic to it. Not instead of a turn-based combat, it'd be action combat. Sort of like Star Ocean, the second story. If you've, or I think any Star Ocean game. I've only played the second story and the Last Hope, but like those. Inspired by those. Except for more actiony, less targeting, where they do the weird targeting. Yeah. So, we have this. We're going to slow this guy down. Could have sworn that was supposed to be battle character. Export. No, what? Gotta love when that happens. Okay, so we're gonna hard code this. Move speed units equals 3.0. I don't like it. Why are your move speed units different? I'm not. Oh, I'm in battle character. That's why. Whoopsie daisy. Let's get rid of that. Grunt. And you're still not happy about something. I don't know what, but you're still not happy about it. Okay, there we go. You're not dying. Pretty sure you should be dead. Let's take your health down. Everybody's health down. Oh, right. What combat system? I'm 2 hours late. You ain't missed much, but I have had a hard time focusing today. It's been a while since I've streamed. Streaming's very distracting for me. But I'm hoping to get back into it, because why are you still not? But yeah, I plan to do a lot more streaming here lately, or here coming up. Hey, great vids. Thank you, bud. Thank you for watching them. So kind of like Arkan, but with explorable overworld instead of just a board game. I've never played it, so I wouldn't know. Would not know. Board game. How can a board game be an action game? Action combat. I'm curious about that. I have to look at it. Okay, so max health. You're not taking the max health down for whatever reason, unbeknownst to me. Because I could have sworn we had this one figured out. Boop. Health. Value. Why are you... Mount damage. 99. Why is your health 99? Oh, 99 health. Man, I swear this thing. It's gotta be something to do with this. And I really don't know what your problem is. Enemy.gd. Let's look at it. AI. Battle character. There's nothing wrong with it. Since those are mostly empty. Let's just extend from battle character for now. Archon is like chess, but instead of simply taking enemy units, you enter a battle that's similar to what you've made, but different pieces have different abilities. Yeah, pretty much. We're gonna have, there we go. Wait, no, not yet. We haven't figured it out yet. I still got high health, buddy. Work, hey. There we go. Get you down to 3 there. Get rid of this hard-coded ugly mess. Oh, it almost hurts that I had to write that. So it should be good. Should be good. Bloop. And got it. Okay, cool. You throw the dice at each other. Person who gives loses an eye. Very action packed and gentleman. I bet. Sounds interesting. I would like to keep my eyes though. Oh, you're a funny one. Okay. Alright, so we got that. Now what's our... Okay. Let's... So the grunt thing is pretty easy. There's no problem to them. They're just going to target the near one. I think we already added the damage area to them. It's player hazard. Let's see what happens if they bump into us. I don't think yeah, I set up my hitbox. Boop. They're colliding with us, which is not good. Because I didn't change his collision. Actually, I think it's the characters that ain't got their collision set up in general. What was I just clicking on there? Right there? Okay, cool. I have a tendency to click random things. It's really not good. And sometimes I change stuff I don't want to change. Okay, so that should be fine. Usually I'll set this one though. What is that, 6? Yeah. Let me change that. I usually like to have that in case I need to detect the player later. Down here. 2D physics. Okay. So battle character. We have the player character. Where's that at? I must have closed it. Okay, so we have that. We're targeting that. We are good. Make sure the grunt has it. Okay. There. Oop, got it. Alright, so we have that. So what happens if he hits us? Boop. And he's still colliding. What? Why are you being this way? Oh wait, hold on. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, one thing we don't have. Why do I have so much health? Do you have the... Oh, you too, huh? Gotta love exports, man. They are just a hassle sometimes. I don't. I don't know. Well, let's test my health here. Yeah, I don't know what your deal is. Now we need to implement knockback a little bit. We also need to. It's not something I'm gonna do right now, because once I get knocked back, I'm not concerned about it for now, for testing, for prototyping purposes. But as you can see, once we get hit, we get, if as long as we stay in here, we won't have any issues. That's because we're only detecting entry. We'll have to fix that later, but I'm not concerned with it right now because I'm about to implement knockback, which should knock me out of his range. There could still be an issue for getting pinned up against the wall, but like down the road. I usually don't concern myself with that too much. So, playable character. Well, we need this in battle character. All characters need a knockback. Here we go. Now I think, I don't know how we're doing this. Platform, you mean like what engine am I using? Or what are we talking about? Or what platform am I developing for? Or what OS am I using? It's an ambiguous question. What was I checking for? Oh, the attacker. The attacker is null. Okay. Now, I think I have it implemented to where, no? Nope. Curious how I did this before then. We have, let's look at our hitbox. Area.attacker. Area, it's damage area. Damage area doesn't have a, what? I didn't see it. There it is. Tell you what, I don't want to hard code it though. Let's just go export. Node path for our attacker. We'll say equals null for readability. And then we'll go to the grunt, damage area, attacker. Okay. Damage area. We can assign this to the grunt. Now that's going to get the node path. What engine? A Godot engine. And so the idea here will be on the ready method. We'll say bit wonky, but what that does is it should, instead of keeping it as a node path, it should give us the actual node. Now, that will use, no, it should be fine, because I mean, I'm thinking about references here. As contact damage, it's fine because it'll get removed as the grunt gets removed. But something like a thrown weapon could be an issue, but I think there's a method we can use where we can set it as top level and we can have the item. Well, no, because if an enemy shoots an arrow, yeah, we're going to have to keep a reference to it. Where will it fix me? Okay. Because say an enemy shoots an arrow, we would want to remove the arrow and parent it to the world, but we want the arrow to keep a reference to the attacker, so that whoever gets hit with the arrow can be like, "Hey, that person attacked me." But pardon me. But say they shoot the arrow, and then they get attacked and they die. The arrow is going to remain in the world, so we can't keep it parented to the grunt or whatever enemy is using it, but setting it as top level because it will remove the arrow. Like if you've ever played Minecraft and a ghast will shoot at you, and if you kill the ghast before the fireball hits, it removes the fireball. That's what happens. We don't want that. We want the arrow to persist after the enemy's death, but we want it to lose the reference to the character. Maybe we'll need to think about how we handle that as well. Because I don't think there should be a reason. Like, what I mean is like we need to check to make sure that the attacker is not null. That's what I mean by that. So should be fine. We'll just need to fix that later. It'll probably crash us later, and we could be like, oh, we need to figure out what's going on with that. And that note should fix us. I don't feel like looking at it right now. Okay, so what was I working on? Got the hitbox, got damage area going for the grunt. Contact damage, it has a reference to itself. The player, when the player attacks, we're creating an attack here. So we want to set the attack area. It's not. We want to set it like that. And then, no, yes. We're going to have it, where's my attack area? I'm going to cache area equals damage area, and then function set attacker value attacker. Let's say damage area attacker equals attacker. Not a fan of it, but hey. What made you choose Godot over Unity, Unreal, and Game Maker? Okay. So I started out with Light C Conatec, I think that's what it's called. That was a tough one because it's a 3D development one. It uses C, and that was the very first language I learned. It was the very first experience with programming, and I got absolutely nothing done. It was fun though, because like they give you some examples. They give you like a ball, like you can kick around, and they give you some 3D models rotating. But it was very tricky. Even now, I think it would be difficult to use. And I didn't have access to the internet at the time, and so all I had was this help file. And so I had to look at, and I didn't know anything about integers. I didn't know anything about floats. I didn't know functions, how all that worked. I just I had to look at their example snippets of code to try to figure out how stuff worked. And I mean, eventually I got some stuff done, but it was so difficult. And then later on, I found out about Game Maker, and I started using that. And it was actually really good. I enjoyed Game Maker. I overscoped, of course, like really big time. I spent like half a year working on an RPG, like a traditional RPG, like something you would see in RPG Maker. I don't know if I had grid movement or not, though. I think I had actual, like, proper movement. or pixel movement or whatever. But I spent like half a year working working on just movement, UI. I made a shop where you could buy and sell items, and uh, I made a chest with inventory, and that was all. I spent like half a year on that. And this that was such a waste of time, but I enjoyed it, and I made like little small things. And then uh, I just stopped fiddling with it for a while. And then I picked up again. I went to Unity, and it never clicked with me. Like I tried it uh, for a while, probably about a couple of years at least, maybe. I tried to make several types of games. Nothing too fancy, but I never got real far in it. Like one of the things I did was I followed Quills Quill 18 creates. He did a base creation game. I tried following that one, and that would taught me a lot about Unity, but I still just never clicked with me. I tried simple stuff too, platformers, and then I gave up on that for a bit. And then eventually I was like, let me try again. And then I made my own engine in Java, and so and that was actually pretty cool. I spent a lot of time on that though, but it wasn't great. But it got me to, like it allowed me to do some things, and so I used that for a little bit, and then I went back. I think I was back and forth between that. So I think I did Unity, my engine, and then back to Unity again. And then while I just got so frustrated with Unity, I was like, let me just look for another engine. And I looked up, I don't remember what I searched, but I found Godot. I seen Alex Horatio's video. That was the first video I seen on Godot. And then I seen GD Quest, and he did a video on it. And I was looking at it, I was like, and I said this earlier in the stream, I was like, I wasn't too thrilled on the idea of having to learn a new language, especially one that's this way it is. But I used it for like a day and just fell in love with it. I was doing things like crazy, like it just boom, just I would think it, put it down, and it would happen, And fell in love. Used it for a couple months. Just felt like I mastered it, and then like genuinely, like maybe half a year after using it is when I started this channel, because like I just felt so comfortable with it. I was like, I know all this shit. Let me just make this channel, and then yeah, that's how that got started. It was like that tells you how comfortable I felt using the engine. I was watching Kids Can Code. Like I binge watched all his videos. He was the one that like where I learned pretty much everything. If you want the arrow to not do damage after the last enemy dies, you just need to have some level and ended variable on the parent scene. It's not that I don't want it to do damage. I just don't want it to keep a reference to the enemy, because the enemy will be gone. I don't want to keep a hard reference of it. I want it to keep a weak reference, which is what I plan to do later. Alright, enough story time. It is very sentimental though. Good memories. Let's see. Damage area, what was that doing? Damage area attacker equals attacker. Right. We're setting the attacker. This is for the player's attack. So that whenever they attack, the enemy will know that they were attacked by this player. It's the whole purpose of that. And so when the player gets attacked, they should know. Okay. So we are on this one. This is where the player gets damaged. We can see the attacker here. Good. That's the whole point of that. Now. Knockback's always tricky because of where do you do it from. We don't want to do it from the attacker, of course. Because say with the arrow, say somebody shoots the arrow then moves, you want it to do it from where the arrow hit. Jeez. So I think I'm gonna do it from the damage source. Why would you have a reference to the enemy ever? How would the arrow use it? The arrow doesn't use it. The entity being attacked by the arrow uses it. So say I have grunt here, player here, player shoots grunt. The grunt only knows about it being hit from the arrow. So the arrow is like, hey, I damaged you. Grunt's like, cool, who shot you? You know? So that's how that works. Because like on this hit map, as you can see here, it's amount, knockback, strength, damage source. Damage source is this damage area, so you can use it for like any other thing that we need, like exceptions and attackers. And I did, all the information's here. We just use it for simplicity's sake, I reckon. Because we might not have a damage source, like it might be like a bolt of lightning that we don't need like a damage area for. We just say you get struck by lightning, whatever, smite, just whatever. I don't know what the point. I started rambling. I forget why. Okay, but yeah, it's not for the arrow. It's for the entity being attacked by the thing, because it doesn't. Yeah, as you can see here in the damage. Yeah, that's why I was doing it. Well, I guess there. We need to know who attacked it, because there's no, in this damage method, there's no other way of knowing who attacked, because it comes from the damage source. Base, yes, correct. For damage-based aggro, correct. So, like, say, if somebody hits them really hard and they want to change, they need to keep track of how much damage that person has dealt. Say they want to attack the person with the highest dealing damage. So if they want to switch it that way. Maybe enemies will have different stats or something. What do you mean, like different health values, different strength? Yeah, absolutely. I would not make an RPG without that. This will be interesting with an action RPG, because we'll have different gear, and so like you'll have different stats through that. And typically with an RPG or an ARPG, I don't think you go as some of them probably. Like the balancing will be interesting. Is what I'm getting at. Like you'll have to consider the different types of gear that the player could have. Versus, because you have to consider things like how many times you want the player to attack the entity before they die. And so we'll have to find a way to balance that, not knowing exactly what the player will have. Will be interesting. I mean, I guess it's not too much different than a role-playing game without the action. Anyhow, we need to do knockback. Knockback. We'll do it here. Now with the knockback, we just need to know the strength and the damage source position. Do we pass in the damage source itself? And let's go direction. So we'll determine direction here. Wait, is this game going to have multiple players? I would like to, but like I said, I don't want to overscope this. I want to be able to complete this game in 2 to 3 months. And so eventually, multiplayer would be awesome. I think that would be pretty cool. Well, at the same time though, maybe not, because in the overworld, only one player is going to have control. And so the other players are just going to have to be waiting around until a battle happens before they can kick in. Could do more local multiplayer, because that would make more sense in local multiplayer. And local multiplayer would be easy. And so I don't. And if we put it on Steam, Steam has remote play. We could look at that if it's not too difficult to implement. Like I said, I don't want to get too complicated with it though. Now if I make this and it becomes something nice and people like it, and then we could expand upon it further that way. But I just want to make something. We could make it, throw it out there, see what happens. If it's good, we throw it in. We do an early access, and we make it a proper game. Usually RPGs with overworld battle division are single player, in which case the aggro would be pretty straightforward. I don't know what you would mean about that. Like, it's overworld, but then it'll switch to battle, like the proper battle scene, to where aggro could change. Like you'll have like up to 4 players on your side versus however many enemies. So you still need the aggro. Like it's not just you. You'll have a party of people. Yeah, 3 or 4. We'll see. Anyhow, knockback. We want to, yeah, let's just do the normal. I don't think we need to keep a reference of the displacement. So we'll say knockback normal equals, we want to move away from, so we'll go global position minus, we need to make sure that there is a damage source. Because there could, like I said, there could be instances where there's not. No. There's one player. There's up to 4 player characters. It's going to be a party system. It's not just you. You're going to have allies. But the way I'm thinking about it right now is just one controller, one player, multiple player characters. Think of like a traditional RPG where you'd control a party of 4 with one player. That's what I have in mind, except for it's an action RPG, so you're only controlling one at a time, but you can switch to different players if you want to. You can swap out who you're playing as. If you want an idea of what I have in mind for combat, I would suggest looking at Star Ocean, the second story. That is what I pictured. That is directly what inspired this idea, except for theirs is, it's got a weird targeting system. You don't like, you move the player around, but you don't actually do all the actiony stuff like you would in, say, Legend of Zelda. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking old Legend of Zelda and cramming it into an Star Ocean's battle system, making it more actiony with like dodging and all that fun stuff, but with a party system like a traditional RPG. Okay, so if damage source no, are you going to need, yes, are you going to need AI for the party allies? Yes. And that's what I was saying earlier. It's going to be interesting because they're going to have AIs, but we're going to have to be able to toggle that off for the player character. So this character class is going to be pretty heavy. It's going to have like move towards, get the target. It's going to have everything for AI based that I can tell, because every playable character is a potential AI. Yeah. It's just the player will pick one to control at any given moment. So set damage as normal. That does not need to be ours. Got the normal. We need to knock back. Now, is there a reason I feel like there's a reason I keep these separate? Because I usually do. Let's do them together. If we need to keep it separate, we'll change it later. So knock back strength times normal, and then but we also want a modifier, which now we're thinking ahead. We'll do that later. Like we'll do it now, because different enemies will have different knockback modifiers that, how well they handle knockback. So we'll say back modifier there. We could have it a negative value, but that would be annoying. We'll do it. I doubt we'll ever use it, but so knock back. We won't velocity. Yeah, we'll say if knockback modifier not equals 0. I feel like I've done that. Like it makes silly. It seems silly, but I feel like there was a reason I did that before. Hold on. Velocity. Knockback. Oh no. I want to see that instead of velocity equal to knockback velocity. I mean, that seems like a lot more work than it needs to be, but hey. Because we could call that method for other non-damaging reasons. I don't know. We could. I'll tell you what we'll do. Because I don't want to have to keep doing the normal. We'll just say source position. That place, yes. Okay, and then for here, we'll go damage source. Okay, let's see how that works. Alright, hold on. Do we have... I feel like we're missing something. Trying to assign the value of int velocity. Oh. Normal. Yeah, we need some kind of base velocity. I like doing this base velocity here instead of in the damage area itself, because say I want to start lowering my knockback strength. I like to keep strength of like say one for knockback, and that's normal knockback. And so if I was to set it for each damage area, I'd have to keep changing it for every damage area. Every time I change it, if I was to use a non-1 value. So say sword swipe 1 damage, but an arrow I want to do half knockback. You know, that gets complicated if you put the values per damage area. So I like to do the knockback strings here. So just knockback velocity equals just throw a random number out there. So 350. See what happens. That needs to be. I don't think I did that. That's caps. Yeah. Oh, I bet I'm still setting players direct velocity directly. Okay, so now we need to lerp this. Let's just throw in that for now. There we go. Okay, now you're not getting knocked back. Wonder if I'm setting theirs directly as well. Move towards. Be in battle character. Yeah. Since we're already doing this again, we'll do a get move weight. Okay, cool. Seems a little slippery though. Okay, they're also very far apart. Okay, cool. I need to do some kind of separation, but that should be cool. Alright, so basic combat took a while. Took far longer than it should have. Now, with the combat, I don't want to do just plain swords nonsense. As you can see here, I want to have ability-based combat. I want abilities to be a big part of this. So, you'll have different weapon types, and different weapon types can do different things, and you can train up in different weapons. So, you could have a sword that does good for like AOE damage or whatever. You could have a spear that's good for range, but also like there's can be some kind of like spear thrusting thing to where and then bows for like the really far ranged, and that's the main ones that come to mind. That's the main ones that we're going to develop first. And then and magic. We want some kind of magic system. We want to have your wizards and your clerics both. So you'll have your people that are focusing on your damaging magic and your buffs and your debuffs and stuff like that. Enemy control, all that fun stuff. And then you'll have your clerics that more focused on keeping the party alive and active and strong and all that good stuff. Okay, so I am going to take a bit of a break. I might stream some more here in a little bit, but I need to, do a few things right quick. Maybe plan out what I want to do next. So, thank y'all for chilling through the stream. Sorry, couldn't have trouble focusing. It'll take me a little bit of practice, and I'll get back into it. That's the way the very first time I streamed as well. I had a hard time focusing, and then I got used to it. But thank y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and y'all take it easy.